Time, what questions can you think of that we need to ask, regarding, like, me shooting through your hole and you shooting through my hole? Do I get more damage from using your hole?
No, I don't think my hole buffs your shaft.
No. Hey, I bet you're wondering about two things. One, how could I make a video title and thumbnail like the one today and still manage to be allowed into heaven? And two, is the new hierarchy exotic bow from the dungeon actually any good? I plan on giving all the answers to both questions today and maybe sharing a few tips about the exotic you might not know. Quick question, do you want to be a YouTuber full-time like me? If yes, listen up. I have a partner today that I currently use that can help out your YouTube channel for just $1. Succeeding on YouTube is actually harder than most people think, and if I could start all over again, I would do a lot of things differently. One thing I would do sooner is sign up for vidIQ, which I've now been using for the past 2 years on my channel. vidIQ is something I use almost daily, and it can help you get discovered faster by exploiting unique data that only they offer. They've got things like a keyword inspector. You can use it to discover popular niches for potential YouTube content, and it shows you the monthly search volume for each keyword. You've also got a daily ideas feature, which can help you dream up potential new video ideas generated by AI learning. You've got data on the best times to post for your channel and audience. You've got data on what videos out there are being watched the most by your own subscribers, and much, much more. I was very happy when vidIQ wanted to partner up with me because legit they have helped my channel a ton, and now they can help you too. Hit up my link in the video description and sign your YouTube channel up for just $1. A really huge value, and big shout out to vidIQ for sponsoring today's video. All right, back to the content. If you're unfamiliar, Hierarchy is the new bow that dropped from the all-new Spire of the Watcher dungeon. Got a guide on my channel if you haven't beaten it yet, but honestly, it's kind of a cakewalk. The bow can drop from the final boss encounter, meaning you got 3 opportunities each week to get it, 1 for each character. Let's peek under the hood of this bad boy. Guidance Ring. Precision hits and final blows build Guidance Ring energy. Opposing guardians grant additional energy. At full charge, hip firing creates a Guidance Ring. Also, arrows fired through a Guidance Ring release seeking projectiles which do more damage based on distance traveled. All right, first things first, what the f is a Guidance Ring? Well, take a look here on my HUD. Every time I either get a headshot arrow on a target or I kill an enemy with the bow, I gradually build up energy. Now that I'm at full charge, I hip fire the bow and bam, you get a Doctor Strange looking orange ring right in front of you. That is a Guidance Ring. Or, as my friends and I have been calling it, a hole. The hole will hang around for exactly 6 seconds. Yeah, I know that the HUD says 5, but add 1 extra second from the moment the timer hits 0 to the time that it actually goes away, and it's actually 6. You can shoot through your hole, and dealing damage through it with a seeking arrow will reset the timer, which is nice. Anyway, as the perk tells you, shooting arrows through a hole with your bow will release seeking arrows, which track targets and hit harder based on how far away you are from the target. How about some freaking
damage numbers?
And for that, we'll go to the entire community's favorite punching bag, Carl the Cabal. On a body shot, a regular arrow does 6,917 damage, and a headshot will do 11,053. When firing through a hole, you still get the regular damage tick of 6,917, but you also get 2 of those tracking arrows, which up close can hit for 5,498 each. Remember though, more damage for being far away, but again, that only applies to the tracking arrows. From downtown, your tracking arrow number jumps up to 10,995, basically double damage from what you get up close. Now, if you're watching the footage carefully of me firing without a hole, you might be wondering, hey Fallout, I can't help but notice that the firing rate on this bow, when compared to the damage that you're dishing out, sucks. And oh, faithful viewer, you would be right. Thankfully, that is where the exotic catalyst comes in. If you can manage to beat the dungeon boss on master difficulty, which I'll tell ya, a real marathon to pull off if your power level ain't good, you get the exotic catalyst. Deploying a guidance ring or hitting a target with a seeking projectile improves draw time and reload speed for a moderate duration. I have exactly 3 thoughts on that catalyst, by the way. Thought number 1, man, I really love that the catalyst makes the bow actually feel feel more usable. The bad draw time goes out the window when you burst through a hole and you feel like you're using a totally different weapon. Thought number 2, man, I'm really freaking annoyed with exotic weapons where the catalyst is essentially mandatory to making the weapon feel somewhat viable. Can't we pop them right out the gate usable? I mean, I guess it's fun to unlock the true potential of a weapon, but I don't know. Thought number 3, I like the exact wording on the catalyst. Deploying a guidance ring or hitting a target with a seeking projectile. Why the distinction? Well, it's in case your homie already has a hole available and you use your arrows for their hole. TLDR, it's an exotic weapon that is designed with team usage in mind, and I kinda like it when weapons are built that way. Exotics like Outbreak Perfected or Rat King, they're kind of fun and even more so when used in a group. The only downside is that, wow, even when used in a group, do I feel that Hierarchy is underwhelming compared to other options out there. There's a fair amount of other exotic bows you could compare Hierarchy to. If you're interested in looking at pretty much all of them, including power weapons like Levy's Breath, Astrocross covers that in his bow video, which I recommend. And if you don't know who Astrocross is by now, by the way, you're kind of up. Anyway, I just wanted to look at 2 other exotic bows because I feel they are probably the most comparable, Ticcu's Divination and Wishender. Starting with Ticcu's because it's a fellow solar bow, feels pretty comparable. With Ticcu, if you're unfamiliar, you first fire off a hip fire shot to tag enemies with a priming shot, then you ADS and hit with another arrow, and bam, boom goes the room. Damage-wise, the first arrows you can shoot deal up to 726 damage each, which is kind of weak, but again, the follow-up explosion shot deals 9,890 on a crit, and 14,458 via the explosion at base. Not bad, but when you add in the damage potential from Ticcu's Catalyst, you can ramp up the damage even higher to a grand total of around 34,354, which you get from the regular explosion damage plus ramped up crit arrow damage. That's slightly higher than the max damage you can achieve with the Hierarchy at its max power potential with far away arrows, which, if you remember, clock in at 33,043. I don't expect you to memorize those numbers, by the way. Just remember that Ticcu's max is a hair higher, and we'll come back to that shortly. Wishender, another strong bow contender for PvE, has an ace up its sleeve in the form of Broadhead, which allows you to do extra damage with your arrow on both entry and exit of a target. Hitting Carl shows that our max damage potential on just one arrow is 33,485. Again, on par with Hierarchy's max. All the damage numbers are so painfully close to one another that, to me and a lot of other people, it's all going to boil down to both how easy it is to use each of these bows and what utility do they bring to the table. Yeah, Wishender has a long draw time, but its max damage potential requires 0 setup, no ramping up damage, no standing in a certain location, no prep arrow, no setup arrow, no nothing. Big boy damage right out the gate, and the damn thing comes with built-in anti-barrier. Ticcu's Divination does require a setup arrow, kind of annoying, but oh so quick and reliable. And you don't even need a full draw on that hip fire setup. Tap the trigger, you can see what targets you're being locked onto, then ADS draw it back, and immediately explosion party time. There is a cool, neat little hidden interaction with Hierarchy, by the way. If there's a Warmind cell on the field and you deploy your magic full energy hip fire arrow while breaking that Warmind cell, then the size of your hole will become huge, like 4 times the size of a normal hole. However, despite the fact that it's kind of cool, it's actually kind of a pain to pull off. For example, what if the Warmind cell hits the ground before you're at max charge and it goes away before you hit it? Sometimes I tried to shoot the Warmind cell with my hipfire arrow and the Warmind cell didn't break, meaning I just wasted my hole. Cool feature for sure, but all in all, I find myself really wondering if the Hierarchy is even worth all the trouble. It's a ton of setup for not that solid of a payoff. If in the future Warmind cells got a huge buff, then maybe Hierarchy can find its way into my usual rotation, but I don't know. Ticcu's and Wishender are just so forehead easy mode by comparison, and even though I love using my friends' holes, even though I love the idea of running with a team of people all using Hierarchy and benefiting from the exotic perk together, I don't know if the juice is worth the squeeze right now. I mean, when I ran actual PvE testing and we were tagging Cabal from far away in a strike, which the bow wants you to do, by the way, half the tracking arrows just completely right off to whatever targets they felt like going after. It feels like they have a mind of their own sometimes. Real quick, if you were curious, yeah, you can get a one-hit kill in PvP with Hierarchy, but good luck pulling off that level of setup in a comp game. First, you need to hit max energy, which to be fair, you can get in PvP if you get a kill with 2 headshot arrows on 1 target. You then need to summon the hole, then either be in an empowering rift or activate Radiant, then hit an enemy in the head through the hole and land both tracking arrows. And even then, when I was testing this against a buddy of mine who was standing completely still, it just wasn't happening consistently. Not to totally discourage you from chasing down a new exotic, by the way. We all know that Bungie has a history of inevitably buffing exotics that need help. Maybe Hierarchy will eventually fall under that umbrella, but I swear to God, it better be in a way that actually makes the weapon better. If they simply slap on a band-aid in the form of, hey, now the gun can stun these kinds of champions by default, then on God, I will stream for 1 week in a cat maid outfit. TLDR, fun gun, great design, cool idea, lot of setup, and I'm a simple man. But if you aren't, get out there and have fun with each other's holes. Oh, and to answer the first question from today's video, yeah, I'm not getting in. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on stream.